Guys, Ashen Wake Titan is peak. I can't get over how addicting this build is to play for farming the mines and really whatever else. I mean the huge damage of the grenades, constant scorch plus ignitions, great healing, and insane ability uptime. Now before I get into the build, if you guys do enjoy the content, a like and sub would be greatly appreciated. It helps out the channel a lot. Thank you guys for all the support so far. So this build's focus is utilizing Ashen Wake to spam grenades around like crazy and just delete entire rooms. So first, what does Ashen Wake do? Well, Ashen Wake's exotic perk is called Bring the Heat, and fusion grenades gain increased throw speed, explode on impact, and stun unstoppable champions. Final blows with fusion grenades grant grenade energy. Now this grenade energy will scale with your grenade stat, making it very important to spec heavily into it. Here's an example of how much energy you get back from 2 kills with a grenade at 50 grenade stat versus 100 grenade stat. So you go from getting about half back to around 80 to 90% back, so it is a very massive increase. Random editing note that I completely forgot as well. So there's a difference in scaling with the red bars versus orange bars. With an orange bar, you get roughly 80% back with 100 grenade stats. And then versus a yellow bar, let me just spawn in a wizard real quick. Hopefully it'll one-shot. Give both roaring flames times 1. You get your entire grenade back in 1 kill. So yeah, thought I should mention that because it's actually very important. So this will bring us to the stats, and the number one stat to focus is hitting at least 100 grenade stat first, and trying to build into 200 grenade stat for that juiced damage. Just wanted to let you guys know that you could use something like the brand new Area Denial GL with Blast Distributor to give you a free plus 65 grenade stat for 5 seconds when the perk's enhanced, which is really helpful in building into grenade stat easier. Now the other 2 stats you want to focus is getting 100 plus melee and 100 plus super for both the best energy gains from both and the damage bonuses from having over 100 stat of each. Now for the subclass itself, we're going to be on Sunbreaker using Hammer of Soul with the abilities Rally Barricade, Throwing Hammer, and a Fusion Grenade to synergize with Ashen Wake. Now the aspects of choice in the build are Roaring Flames for a stacking solar ability damage buff that maxes at ×3 for a 200% melee damage buff and a 73% grenade and super damage buff. Now the other aspect is going to be Soul Invictus, so we can spawn sunspots to give us restoration ×1 and give us a 100% increased base grenade and melee regeneration rate. For the fragments in the build, we're using Ember of Searing, where defeating Scorch combatants grants melee energy and spawns a fire sprite, which we can then pick up to give us a chunk to our grenade energy instantly. Next is Ember of Torches, which on powered melee hit grants us Radiant for 10 seconds, which is a 20% damage buff to our weapons. Ember of Ashes, so we can apply more Scorch stacks, and then lastly, Ember of Empyrean, so our ability kills and solar weapon kills will extend the effects of Radiant and Restoration. Now this one can be changed out for something like Ember of Char that can help us loop infinite ignitions on tankier enemies, which honestly I kind of like more with this build, but Radiant Shrapnel does exist for the next 6 months, so Empyrean is pretty strong with this build. Onto the weapons for this build, in the top slot I'm taking Festival Flight with Blast Distributor and Attrition Orbs. Blast Distributor is a brand new perk that grants up to 65 grenade stat for 5 seconds when enhanced, just for shooting stuff with the GL. Now if you don't have that, honestly, I kind of recommend Mint Retrograde. It's insanely good for pretty much everything in the game, and I'd be looking for a role with Rewind rounds and One for All to focus on ads or bait and switch for damage. Now in the second slot, we are taking Yeartide Apex with the role Demolitionist and Burning Ambition or Incandescent. Demo will be there to help us get our grenade back quickly if we didn't kill enough enemies to get it back, and Burning Ambition is really nice to use against enemies that are already scorched, causing ignitions against the target in roughly like 10 to 15 bullets. I mean, it's pretty good. But I will say Incandescent is still just probably the better option overall for ad clear. It's just up to you which perk you prefer more. Like personally, I like using the SMG as a utility weapon to apply ignitions to enemies my grenade doesn't kill. Now lastly, for the heavy slot, honestly it's your choice. You can run an exotic here like Dragon's Breath to apply tons of Scorch to a boss, or use G-Horn to buff your teammates' rockets. For me, honestly, I just use an Eager Edge Sword. I'm such a movement junkie, as you probably know at this point. Just know both the heavy and kinetic slot are completely flexible. The only weapon I think is necessary for this build is definitely Yeartide Apex with Demo and either Burning Ambition or Incandescent. Now to the armor set of choice and the armor mods, the set bonus you'd really want with this build is going to be the new Solstice 4-piece set. Now the 2-piece grants your solar weapons increased flinch resist, handling, and reload speed when you receive healing, which is all the time with this build, and the 4-piece is rapid solar final blows will heal you, making this build even better at sustained healing than it already is. For the armor mods, on helmet I'm using double ashes to assets to increase super energy on grenade kills and a solar siphon. On the gloves, a solar loader, firepower to create an orb every 10 seconds on grenade kill, and a heavy handed to create an orb every 10 seconds on melee kill. On the chest, whatever resist mods you want and taking charge for the extra armor charge stack. On the boots, I like innervation plus stacks on stacks, but you could absolutely rock surges here if you want some extra weapon damage, it's totally up to you. And lastly for the class item, bomber, powerful traction, and special ammo finisher. Now if you do want to replace some of these mods for fonts to reach higher stats, just make sure to replace special ammo finisher with time dilation to make each stack last an extra 5 seconds. I also did just want to say, these mods can really be changed around how you see fit, so please feel free to experiment with these, since most aren't really vital to make this build work, outside of maybe solar siphon and ashes to assets. Lastly, the artifact mods for this build, we're going to be taking refreshing threads, so when we pick up a fire sprite, our least charged ability also gets energy back, elemental coalescence, so final blows have a chance to create a fire sprite, so even our SMG could create them even if they aren't scorched. Elemental daze, where on stunning a champion, it creates a elemental aligned explosion, and with solar this causes an ignition and can pretty much one-shot champs just off stunning alone. It's kinda crazy. Now for the last two, we're going to be taking shield crush, so while we are radiant, our grenades get increased recharge rate and a 50% damage buff, making our fusion grenades even better. And for the last one, it's going to be radiant shrapnel to spread more scorch around from damage and defeats to enemies while we are radiant or if they are scorched. Honorable mention as well to elemental overdrive, which you could opt into instead, which would give you more weapon damage buff after picking up a fire sprite. But for me, I really prefer radiant shrapnel for the more scorch to spread around. So yeah, this build is really super fun to play. Honestly, one of my favorite brain off farming builds for things like solo ops. I enjoy it honestly in the same way that I enjoy playing grapple hunter melee, where that one's just really cool to see bosses or group of enemies get nuked by grapple melee. I feel the same way with just tossing grenades around like crazy, causing ignitions, explosions, crazy ability uptime. Dude, it's so much fun. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the build. Thank you for all the support. I am truly appreciative to all of you that interact with the content. Also come stop by at twitch.tv/SuperDSX, where we are farming the mines, running pinnacles, and raids with friends in chat every day. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next one. Peace.